Obviously, one of my current projects is exposing how people are abusing our immigration system, not just the illegal, but also the legal, by setting up shell companies to import thousands of people on H-1B visas. And of course, the end result is they take away American jobs, they take away American resources. I mean, it is a big problem in this country, and I think the American people are feeling it, which, by the way, on that note, we did go out and shoot another video today, so stay tuned for that. But so far, the response has been great. The state of Texas is taking action to limit or pause H-1B visas statewide. Attorney General Ken Paxton is launching investigations, but the problem is so much bigger than Texas. And I'd like to hear something from the federal government. Well, that's where my next guest comes in. Joining me now is Representative Chip Roy, who also is running to be the Attorney General of the great state of Texas. Representative, thank you so much for joining me. You actually have introduced the Pause Act, which would, correct me if I'm wrong, but it would just simply put a pause on all immigration, including H-1B visas. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. We introduced that after we saw so many of these horror stories that many of us have known for a long time, that the system was plagued with so much fraud and so many problems, and have been pushing back on it. And, going all the way back through before the big, beautiful bill, going all the way back to the various immigration debates we've had. Many of us have been trying to, raise up the red flags that there's massive issues here. Now people are seeing it. And thanks to your good work, other people's great work and exposing it, I think we're finally starting to get some traction that maybe the system is pretty corrupt. And that the fact that we have 51.5 million foreign-born people in the United States, about 16% of the population, higher than we've ever had, that maybe like we did in the 1920s, we should pause, we should reassess, we should remove some of the people who don't want to assimilate, remove some of the people who are here illegally, remove dangerous actors, get our system back to normal, and pause the abuse that these corporations are carrying out. It's not even just for cheap labor, high-tech labor. They're literally, it's fraudulent, as you've been exposing right there in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
Yeah, I won't say who because I don't have his permission to share this. Not that I think he would care, but there is a Texas state representative who saw my expose, and he texted me and he was just like, this is so wrong because we didn't even have a choice in this. The federal government did this to us. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. Obviously, you're one of the good guys, as I call it, but there is a lot of truth to that. It's just like we seem to be at the mercy of USCIS approving these. And in what I'm uncovering, I'm like, it feels like they're just totally asleep at the wheel, just rubber stamping any application without doing basic levels of digging, which is the real scary part to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I could talk for 2 hours on this, but I'll try to distill it very quickly. If you go look at the last, I'm going to say 2 decades, 20 years ago, when I was a lawyer on Capitol Hill, we were fighting the amnesty push of 2006-07 under the Bush years. I could walk you through for 2 hours the battle scars of fighting to stop what was going to be a giant amnesty. And everybody then was talking about, remember, they were talking then and then again in 2012, 2013, that amnesty push, remember the Gang of Eight?
Yeah.
All of that was being built around the idea, well, there's some people here who are illegally, we should remove them, but we need a massive increase in legal immigration. Mm-hmm. Remember, that's always been the place, the Chamber of Commerce, the Wall Street Journal, all of the swamp creatures all go, hey, yeah, we'll agree, stop the illegal immigration, but we need a massive expansion of legal immigration. So what you had then was juicing of H-1Bs, of diversity visas, chain migration, all of these things to use the tools of legal immigration, which was supposedly good. And now, to be clear, I think we've actually gotten more damage to this country from so-called legal immigration, where we've ended up with all of these Somalis, all of these people who don't want to assimilate. You've got the abuse of the H-1Bs, Indian, Pakistani, wherever they come from, doesn't matter. And they've got fake residences, as you're pointing out, at Frisco and everywhere else. And now we're exposing it. But now what do? We have people here who are legal that need to be removed because they're not assimilating. They're not being part of the culture. And everybody who's here illegally needs to be removed. But am I more offended by the 30-year Mexican who's been working here, or the Somali who's sitting here and is trying to change my culture, like Ilhan Omar wants to do? Let's recognize we've been built by so-called legal immigration.
Exactly right. So, I mean, obviously, we still have a majority, though very slim. Where's the bill at right now, and what can we do to try to put some pressure to get it all the way through?
Well, I think we were making some good progress on the SAVE Act to guarantee only citizens vote in our elections. trying to demonstrate that we could maybe break down the so-called, what I call the fake filibuster in the Senate, because this 60-vote threshold is nonsense. If we force Democrats who want to block this to have to go give a speech on the floor, we think we can break them. So the SAVE Act has been our sort of tip of the spear. The PAUSE Act is gaining traction. We need more promotion of it so people can understand that it's not radical, it's not crazy. All we're saying is pause. You can, continue to go through like tourist visas, but everything else stops. Let's review the whole system. Let's make sure that we're stopping adherence to Sharia law. Let's make sure that we're stopping the abuse of diversity visas and chain migration and H-1Bs. Let's fix and reform the system, and let's resettle everything, and then we can have a debate. But we need to push it forward, because right now with the thin majority, everything now we're on our heels after the Minnesota issue. And I'm trying to encourage Republicans, stay on offense, stay on mission. We have got to stop responding defensively and instead say the radical left, the Marxists, the Antifa warriors, the Islamists, they're trying to remake Texas and remake America. Don't apologize. Yes, we want to do everything right. Tom Homan, I'm glad he's going to Minneapolis. Let's do it all right. Neither you nor I or your viewers are for law enforcement running amok.
Right.
We are for law enforcement backing them up to remove people here who are under orders of removal, who are gang members, who are dangerous, who don't want to assimilate. They need to be gone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I just wrote an op-ed. I'm curious your thoughts on this. I just wrote an op-ed at theblaze.com a couple days ago about eliminating the H-1B visa, which I know it would take a step further than the PAUSE Act that you're considering. So I don't want to conflate the two. That's not what you're advocating. It's what I'm advocating. And so, but I said, we could eliminate it, and people go, well, what about the best of the best? And what about, bringing in and damaging the American jobs and the American companies? And I'm like, okay, but what about the EB-5? Why aren't we talking about that more? Because that would bring people over if they can invest in the American economy and bring in, $1 million invested in a company and then provide full-time work to 10 American workers. So there are ways that we can structure this that it's a win-win. Why aren't we doing that? And until we can, I just don't agree that this system is bringing in the best and the brightest. I mean, I'll give you one more, Chip, is that I'm going through all of these H-1B, applications, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you need an athletic trainer at Texas A&M, and the only place that you can find it, is from a foreign country. You need an elementary school math teacher, and the only place you can find it, you can't find one single American worker. You have to go to a foreign country. I can't believe that. That's not believable.
It's very clearly false.
Yeah.
It is very clearly false that H-1Bs are bringing in, the high-skilled workers that we need. That's just not true, right? I mean, the fact of the matter is all of the stuff they're selling us with it is not true. It's not what's actually happening. And so to your point, I support the PAUSE Act because I think it's across all issues. And I'm trying to make everybody understand we have, frankly, too many foreign-born people here for us to maintain our sovereignty, our identity as Americans. We need to pause. But I agree with you, and I'm introducing legislation probably next week that is going to be a massive overhaul of H-1Bs that would completely change the way we do it. And frankly, it would make it to where it wouldn't even be the current H-1B system. We need a wholly different approach to it. And again, I still say we need to pause and then figure out what we do, because if we don't remove a lot of the people who've come here, we're not going to have a country left. That's just true. That's why I support Tom Homan and support the president, and support Stephen Miller and support DHS and ICE and Border Patrol. We cannot blink. But to your point, absolutely. The H-1B system is not what has been advertised, and we should not treat it as such. Frankly, it's a lie.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, obviously, I mentioned it earlier. You're running for Attorney General here in the state of Texas, where I assume you would continue this fight against visa fraud here.
Yeah, it's actually probably the singular issue that is driving me to run for Attorney General. At least certainly it's the number one issue. I mean, we got to get criminals off our streets. We've got to make sure we're standing up for election integrity. That's why I authored the SAVE Act. But all these things are interrelated. And stopping the illegal flow across the border, if we ever have a future Biden and Mayorkas, we need to declare invasions. We need to be much more active. Stopping the illegal alien children getting free education under the wrongly decided Plyler veto. We need to stop that. We need to stop the abuse of visas by the federal government that is making Texas be beholden to a federal government, putting a lot of people in our state that don't believe in Texas values. We need to stand up to that. We need to stand up against the Islamification of Texas. We need to stop the building of not just Epic, not the Islamic Center in Houston, not just the new one in Austin, not just the one in West Campus of the University of Texas. We have 300 mosques across the state of Texas. It is organized, it is funded, and the AG's office has express power to look at all these nonprofits, open up their books, and follow the money. We cannot allow CARE to laugh in our face as they're doing right now when they go to the Austin City Council to have a Muslim Appreciation Day, and they know full well that the governor just declared CARE as what they are, a terrorist organization. So as Attorney General, I will be on full offense on all of those issues to maintain Texas sovereignty.
Great. That's what a relief to hear. Chip Roy, Representative Chip Roy. I'm sorry, you're my friend, so I call you Chip, and I should be more formal.
Chip is what it is. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. You can find out more about his run, chiproy.com. Running for Attorney General of Texas. It's always nice to catch up with my friend Chip Roy. All right, we have more to come, but I want to just remind you guys, blazetv.com/Sarah is where you can get a subscription to Blaze TV. You can save some moolah, some money with promo code Sarah, blazetv.com/Sarah. We'll be right back. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.